Bata pa lang ako, mission ko nang alamin ang mundo ng hiwaga. At ang mga nilalang na naninirahan dito. Mayroong mabait, mayroon din namang mga salbahe. Sa paranormal expert, ang trabaho ko ay hanapin at intindihin sila. Sa mga nagpapakita, ginagamit ko itong EMF. Nako-confirm ito ang presence ng spirits because they are made up of static electricity. Mayroon ding nagpaparamdam via sounds. Ito ang na-record na ingay ng isang kliyente at 3 a.m. Gamit ko naman dito ang ghost box para ma-decipher ang mensahe nila. Mayroon ding nagpaparamdam lang sa dilim. Gamit ko ang Tibetan Singing Bowl. Ito naman, nakuhanan ng kliyente ko sa phone niya. Patingin ng picture. Ito lang pala kailangan mo.
Day?
Ay! Bakit, Kuya? Selfie tayo?
Gamitin ito sa paranormal. Ito, paranormal, ang selfie.
Ang programang ito ay rated SPG. Striktong patnubay at gabay ng magulang ang kailangan. Maaaring may masiselang tema, lengguwahe, karahasan, sexual, horror o droga na hindi angkop sa mga bata.
Our priority to give justice to your curiosity. Latest news spotted here on INC News TV, giving you the most credible news for today. For the headlines, Enron's company ranked number 7 on the Fortune 500.
Enron's bankruptcy in 2001, largest in U.S. corporate history that time.
Enron's fallout had a lot of consequences to the shareholders and other staff.
Reasons for Enron's fallout, classified as ethics scandal and corporate governance weakness.
Some students of Rizal Technological University gave some recommendations and solutions to the issue.
Filing for bankruptcy in 2001, Enron Corporation was one of the largest integrated natural gas and electricity companies in the world. It was ranked as number 7 on the Fortune 500.
Enron Company was also one of the largest independent developers and producers of electricity in the world, serving both industrial and emerging markets. Enron was also a major supplier of solar and wind renewable energy worldwide, managed the largest portfolio of natural gas-related risk management contracts in the world, and was one of the world's biggest independent oil and gas exploration company. In North America, Enron was the largest wholesale marketer of natural gas and electricity. Enron pioneered innovative trading products such as gas futures and weather futures, significantly modernizing the utilities industry after a surge of growth in early 1990s. The company ran into difficulties. The magnitude of Enron's losses was hidden from stockholders. Eliza Maris Esteban reporting the INC News.
U.S. company that in 2001 became the largest bankruptcy,
and stock collapse in U.S. history up to that time. There is that its subsidiaries engage in sham trading among themselves to drive up the price of electricity, and Enron's traders arrange power supply deals with California. That gave the appearance of creating power congestion, generating fraudulent fees when Enron then appears to take steps relieve the non-existent congestion. The large profits made during the crisis were partially hidden by manipulating Enron's financial reserves.
The company was formed in 1985 when Internorth purchased Houston Natural Gas to create the country's longest natural gas pipeline network, renamed Enron in 1986. The company transformed itself in the 1990s from a gas pipeline business into a natural gas and electricity trading giant. By 2000, it was the 7th largest U.S. corporation. Enron employed shoddy and deceptive accounting practices to hide its financial losses, and occasionally its gains. The techniques of structured finance, complex financial transactions designed to hedge the risk involved in business activities, were used to enrich some of Enron's corporate officers and hide the firm's financial losses. Independent partnerships to which Enron sold assets were created, enabling Enron to convert loans and assets burdened with debt obligations into income. But the contracts with the partnerships contained guarantees and risky buyback conditions that had potentially disastrous consequences for Enron. Enron also booked projected long-term income from trading contracts when those contracts were signed, but the income projections were often overly optimistic and inflated. In 2001, when one partnership deal was properly accounted for by Enron's outside auditor, Arthur Andersen, large quarterly losses resulted. Those losses and subsequent profit and debt restatements caused Enron's stock price to drop, triggering the unraveling of the partnerships and resulting in a sudden and dramatic financial collapse that led to bankruptcy in December 2001. The pensions of some 2,000 Enron employees were devastated in varying degrees as well. 62% of the company pensions plan was in now worthless Enron stock. Enron was also accused of manipulating the electricity markets during the California energy crisis of 2000 to 2001. There is evidence that its subsidiaries engaged in sham.
Coming up next, Enron's fallout had a lot of consequences to the shareholders and other staff.
No camera tricks were used in this commercial. Just BioLink VCO 5-minute hot oil for intense moisture, now also in shampoo. Mula sa Splash.
The company completely fell apart after the collapse. It was forced to re-announce earnings with multiple partnerships such as Chuko Investments and Jelly. In 2007, the company's name was changed and set a goal to completely repay all creditors and end all its. Then the company was forced to recall earnings all the way back to 1997, which only summed to $586 million and was only 20% of what had been reported. The stock prices fell to mere pennies, and all customers and financial buoyancy was lost. Shortly after, Enron declared bankruptcy. Enron shareholders did not benefit from the greed of the executives. Those that had their pension, once financed in the company, lost almost everything. Consequently, the SEC and Congress worked swiftly to begin immediate restructuring to reduce losses like those experienced in the future. A $40 billion lawsuit followed the collapse, demanding compensation for the shareholders' worthless stock. The collapse destroyed more than $2 billion in pension plans. The employees of Enron also greatly suffered and in most cases lost everything that they had invested in the company. One employee, Charles Presswood, lost $1.3 million in the Enron collapse. Money entrusted in the company in retirement savings or investment disbanded overnight. After the collapse, the SEC stated that they would try and recover as much of the lost money as they could in their judicial system. Enron executives also felt the consequences of the collapse. Paula Ricker was charged with insider trading when she sold just under $1 million worth of shares just a week before the collapse. Skilling was charged with 24 years in prison due to mostly charges of securities fraud. Lay was charged with 45 years in prison, but died before the sentence was scheduled. Fasto was sentenced to 10 years in prison with no parole. Creditors involved with Enron struggled to receive all the money that was owed to them. Enron sold cross-country energy for $2.45 billion in order to address some of the credit outstanding. When its last business was sold, it left Enron without any assets. In 2007, the company's name was changed and set a goal to completely repay all creditors and end.
Marlene J. Ramos reporting.
Every reason for Enron's fall can be classified as ethics scandal and corporate governance weakness. Some common cases of weakness in corporate governance were in the conflict of interest involving some key officers of Enron who also served as principals of these created SPES, related party transactions authorized by that chairman.
Several charges leveled against Enron in the court of law include involvement in securities fraud, conspiracy to inflate profits, and generally and deliberately nurturing a corrupt corporate culture. These charges revolve around ethics scandal and corporate governance weakness. However, none of these offenses can be said to involve breaking the law, unlike Arthur Anderson, who was charged for criminal offenses. Besides, Enron did not contrive any accounting principle, but rather stretched applicable principles to the limit in recording transactions. That is, introducing complicated accounting treatments, such as the mark-to-market accounting and creation of balance sheet, partnerships, or special purpose entities, SPES. This is what has become known as recreative accounting or earning management. Enron's ethics scandal relates to management desire of its employees to continue to buy shares in the company, even when they know that the company was dwindling prospects.
Jocelyn Barney reporting.
Coming up next, reasons for Enron's fallout, classified as ethics scandal and corporate governance weakness.
Pag kailangan ng gamot, huwag mahihiyang magtanong. Kung may right med ba nito? May right med ba nito? Pag may kailangang gamot, huwag mahiyang magtanong. Kung may right med ba nito? Ang right med ay premium na gamot na kayang bilhin. Dahil gusto namin na gumaling kayo.
The Oxley-Baker Corporate and Auditing Accountability, Responsibility and Transparency Act proposes some legislative change that might benefit investors, although we believe that it may well impose more costs and achieve benefits.
It appears to us that the Securities Acts already give the SEC sufficient power to undertake to discipline the public accounting profession. If this were necessary and desirable, we urge the SEC and FASB to revisit its requirement for financial instruments to be stated at fair values when these values cannot be reliably determined. We also urge the Congress not to rush to enact legislation until more is known about the precise manner and extent to which indicate accounting or auditing standards or incapable or even dishonest CPAs were the source of the losses to investors and employees of Enron and other publicity-traded corporations. There needed to be significant reforms in the accounting practices that corporations utilize. It is not enough to assume that they are doing the right thing, and it is important to always be skeptical. Conflicts of interest are an extremely detrimental crutch in accounting, and it made the Enron collapse essentially imminent.
We can do our best to regulate and criticize, but in the end, and it's their call, we can only hope they do the right thing.
It's our priority to give justice to your curiosity. Latest news spotted here on INC News TV, giving you the most credible news for today.
Kanino ang lastita na ito? pa bro eh. Siguro bukas. Kanino ang last tita na ito? Sa'yo o sa'kin? Sa'kin. Uulitin ko. Sa'yo o sa'kin? Sa'kin.
Sarap kasi.
Sino talaga ang deserving? Ikaw o ako? Ako. Uulitin ko. Ikaw o ako?
Ulitin
Ako.